Yeah, resources.
Yeah.
It's not looking so clear.
Number?
What is it?
Yes. It's the number.
Clinical.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session today. I want to just take a minute and introduce the team which is going to take you through the presentation. So maybe I'll just ask Charles to start from the right-hand side of the room.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Atelu. I work for Palladium in the KeHMIS project. I coordinate capacity building activities. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Bernard Juang. I work for KeHMIS projects. I support stakeholder engagement and capacity building.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Diana To. I work with Palladium, stakeholder engagement and capacity building.
Good afternoon. I'm Anthony Juan, a developer.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moreri Mwangi with Palladium Group, supporting stakeholder engagement and capacity building activities. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Bernard Otieno, also working for Palladium under KenyaEMR project, supporting stakeholder engagement and capacity building.
Good afternoon. I'm Kezia Mirore, working with Palladium, stakeholder engagement and capacity building.
Good afternoon. My name is Frida Oyucho. I work with Palladium, stakeholders engagement and capacity building advice. Welcome.
Yes, and my name is Dr. Jacob Odhiambo. I'm working at Palladium as the clinical advisor. So for today's session, I'd like us to start, and this webinar is the August 2019 release webinar for KenyaEMR. It is conducted in partnership with the US government, the Ministry of Health, Palladium, ITEC, and other stakeholders who continuously help us to improve and to develop the electronic medical record systems and other HIS that we use. So just a bit of information about the webinar. There is a chat window on the right-hand side, accessible at the bottom of your screen. If you have any questions, please type them in that chat box so that you can be able to respond to them. Questions will be monitored and then they'll be answered during the course of the webinar. We may have a few breaks in between to take 1 or 2 questions if they arise. So the objective of this session is in your screen. By the end, we would like you to be aware about the August 2019 release versions of the health information systems and how to find the installers for carrying out any upgrades that we may need to do after this. We also would like you to recognize the new features and updates to the health information systems and be familiar with some of the new features that have been built into them. To know the requirements for system deployment and to be able to access training materials and the health information systems help desk that we have been running for the last 1.5 years. And also to get feedback from all the participants on the August release webinar. So we have a survey that takes just about 2 minutes to run. Please make sure you give us feedback on how we performed during this webinar and how we can improve on the webinar. So a link to the survey will be available in the chat window. Please, if you are more than one person in your room, just get it and share it with the rest of your colleagues so that we can be able to respond to the survey questions. So as an overview, the session has 4 main sessions. We have an overview of the key population system. That is a new system that we are going to be rolling out. Session 2 will be talking about the electronic medical record systems and the mobile HIV testing applications. Talking about KenyaEMR, QCare, and IQ tools, mUzima, Aryaviobile. Then session 3 will be talking about the National Data Warehouse. So you'll be taken through the WAPI tool as well. Then, and a bit of data use activities. Session 4 will be talking about the help desk and how to access it. Then we'll have a session on questions and answers and remarks from the MOH and CDC. For this session, we have a number of participants that have been invited and are logged in. We have the National Ministry of Health. We have a team from NASCO that will be giving you a few remarks shortly. We have a team from the USG, from both USID, DOD, and also from the CDC. We have health information systems partners who we work with to make the solutions work at the facilities, both at implementation and also at system development level. We have service delivery partners who are the main clients of this solution that we have developed together. And then we have county aides and STI control coordinators. In your list, you may not be able to see the county health records and information officers. They are also participants in this webinar. And I know a number of them will be joining as we move along the session. On to ground rules. So we have an admin who will keep your microphones muted at all times unless we feel that you need to talk. Questions will be received through the chat function in the conference application. So at the bottom right of your screen, you'll be able to see the conference app, and you can be able to type in your questions so that we can be able to listen. And just to test, you can tell us if you can hear us. The Q&A session will be based on the questions received in the chat. So we are going to have very limited time for any interactions on audio. So please make sure you type your questions in the chat window to allow for responses. We would request that you maintain professional etiquette during the Q&A sessions so that we can be able to keep order and maintain it throughout the presentation. So just one last statement is that this is not a detailed product overview, but a highlight of key new features and functions that have been built into the system. So we have a team from MOH who will be talking at the end of this session. So please look out for their statement and their comments. At this point, I'll just take you through the activities for the next few days in terms of just to guide you on how we are going to be handling this release. So today is the release webinar for August 2019 release. We'll be taking around 1.5 hours to take you through these sessions. Tomorrow, 30th of August 2019, we'll be uploading the upgrade files onto GitHub. So you'll be able to access the installers for the updated software that we'll be releasing today, so that you can be able to now interact with them and also deploy them at the facilities that you support across the 44 counties that we are in. Subsequent to that, then we will be, it will be upon the partners and in collaboration with the Ministry of Health to conduct the upgrades at the facility levels. Now, we have new features in the EMRs that will require a bit of training for users. We have scheduled trainings for September and October, through October. So we will be communicating to you the dates when these trainings will take place and the location of the trainings. In October 2019, we have noted some gaps in data use, and we'll be taking you through a specific webinar on data use and data security. So please look out for the invitations to the webinar so that you can be able to get to interact with us on how to make sure that the individual level data contained in your systems is secured during collection and also during transmission to the national data warehouse. And we can be able to get feedback from you on how to handle this. So I'll just take you through this this slide on the bird's eye view. So generally, the solutions that KenyaEMR has developed supports clinical care and strategic information. So at both facility level and at national level. So at facility level, many of you will have interacted with the HIV testing applications, the electronic medical record systems that includes an HTS module, a treatment module, a TB HIV module, MCH module that also has PMTCT, an HIV prevention module that basically includes the PrEP, which is not yet in their EMRs, but will be rolled out soon, a supply chain module that also works together with the QCare, but also through interoperability, the ARV dispensing tools that is in use at your facilities. You will notice that in this particular slide, we now have a key population system that is a new solution that we are adding, and we also interact with other solutions such as T4A and Ushauri. For those who may not have attended previous webinars, through the interoperability layer, you can now send text for adherence right straight from the EMRs through the mHealth applications. I'll move on to hand you over to the next presenter, who will take you through the key population module. But before we do that, we have a NASCOP representative online, and I will ask our facilitator to just allow her to talk so that we can be able to proceed with this session. Through the app, I think, Rose, you can raise your hand so that we see where you are.
Hello?
Yes, Rose.
Hello.
Yes, Rose, we can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you, Jacob. And hello, everyone. On behalf of NASCOP, we are happy to have you on board. And we are happy to be taken through the EMR update through webinar. And we hope that we'll all gain and actively ask questions. And of course, as we know, the government generally, that is the Ministry of Health and also NASCOP, is very keen to increase the coverage of EMR countrywide, and of course to have everybody uploading data into the EMR. Now I know we have on board the NASCOS and the CHRIOs and of course the partners. Now we want to encourage especially the CHRIOs and the NASCOS to take up the role of advocating and ensuring that we are getting everybody on board into uploading data into the EMRs and hence to the data warehouse. The data that we have in the data warehouse, of course, we are looking forward to increase the use to help us in the decision making at all levels. So with that remark, I think I just want to, again, on behalf of NASCOP, welcome everybody on board, and let's join hands in increasing the coverage of EMR. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you very much. That was Rose Ayugi, who is the acting head of SI at the National AIDS and STI Control Program. So at this point, and thank you so much, Rose, for that. At this point, I'll ask Atelu Charles to take us through the key population module. Charles has been supporting the EMRs for a while now, and since 2016, he's been supporting the development of capacity building materials and making sure that the trainings are conducted to support the use of the systems. So Charles, karibu sana.
Thanks, Doc. So allow me to walk you through key population system. So it's imperative to note that this is a new system and the key population system is designed Sorry about that. The key population system is designed to register and capture data on HIV prevention services for key population. So basically, the system is designed to digitize the capture of HIV prevention services so as to simplify reporting and commodity management from the drop-in centers. So basically, we have mirrored the tools, key population tools, onto the system. This is a new system that will be rolled out for the first time with the support from PEPFAR and NASCOP Key Population Technical Support Unit. So allow me to point out the main features contained in the key population system. Similar to EMRs, we have the user access management. So basically, users will require authentication to log in onto this system. We also have a feature on the client registration. Clients' registration details are captured in the system. It's also important to note that we have a client enrollment feature. This is where, after registration, the client is actually enrolled into the key population program. It's also important to note that we have a clinical services management feature. This is where all the clinical details of the clients are captured, and it contains all the clinical forms. You have a number of the clinical forms, TB screening, but just to mention a few. We also have the appointment management feature. So basically, after clients are offered these services, they are given an appointment date. And lastly, we have the reports feature. So we're able to generate all the key population reports that I will mention in the course of my presentation. So allow me to point out the high level. I'm just pointing out the high level view of the system. So I'll walk you through this flowchart. Unlike the other programs, this is an interesting program whereby we actually access or reach out to patients at the hotspots. As you can see from a diagram number 1 there, there is a peer educator accessing, or rather being at the hotspots, offering clinical outreach services done at this hotspot. At number 2, we have commodities that are offered to these clients. Peer educator gives commodities, offers health education, and schedules appointment. And this includes visits to the drop-in centers or other facilities. At point 3, we now have the prevention officer who captures details of clients retrospectively into the key population system. And the forms filled at this point include the contact form, and commodity tracker, and loss to follow-up form. At number 4, point number 4, actually a client makes a visit to the drop-in center or facilities, and the assistant or seated at the dais or the receptionist captures the client details. The client is offered health education at this point and enrolled into the key population program. The forms filled at this point include the client enrollment form. At step 5, the client is offered clinical services. There's a clinician now at this point. Preventive, curative health education, commodities also provided at this point. Referral services if warranted, and appointment management. So basically, a clinician sees the client at this point, a prevention officer, HTS counselor or nurses, and the M&E officer to actually offer clinical services to these clients. So the output, after all is said and done, we have a number of outputs. We have registers that can be generated from the key population system. These include the commodity tracker register, peer educator, loss to follow-up register, the cohort registers, outreach worker summaries, and we also have program reports that can be generated. These include the commodity consumption report, MOH 731 plus, and the monthly reports for KP PEPFAR reporting indicators, 3 PM as it's known to all of us. So how is the system designed? It's important to mention something on how the system is designed. It's distributed on an OpenMRS platform, similar to KenyaEMR. It's also imperative to note that this is a standalone system, independent of clinical EMRs at the diocese. And currently, the version that will be going out, this is the first version, version 1.0.0, is designed as a retrospective data entry system. So basically, the clinicians and the prevention officers working at the diocese and the peer educators at the hotspots will be able to capture some of this information retrospectively. The security features, we have the security features, just like the EMRs. Password control, each users, there is restricted access, not unless you have the login credentials to access the system. And there's also role-based access. So basically, if one is a peer educator, we don't expect a peer educator to access the clinical services application. So basically, the access is restricted according to the role of the system user. It's also important to note that the system can work very well, will work very well in local access area network, similar to the EMRs, and also it has got a capability of working as a centralized system through the internet. It's also important to note that the system is able to back up automatically, just similar to the EMRs. That feature is part of the system. Allow me now to mention some of the tools that have been programmed into the system. We have a couple of the key population tools that have been built into the system. The outreach tools on the left have the contact form, the referral form that captures the client information pending referral, follow-up tracking form, the outreach workers summary. The bolded ones are part of the report. Then we also have the peer educator outreach calendar, very important for the program. We also have clinical tools, as we saw from the flowcharts, the clinical enrollment form, the clinic visit form, the STI treatment form, alcohol abuse screening tool, the depression screening, and healthcare worker overdose encounter. We also have the program level tools. These include the violence reporting form, key population cohort register, which is part of the reports, as you will see in the next slide. And we also have the summary reporting tools, which is our 731 plus for the key population. It's also important to note that we also have other forms that have been built into the system for purposes of offering clinical services. These are the HTS initial and retest form for HTS, HTS referral and linkage form, the TB screening ICF form, the triage, lab pharmacy, and diagnosis for the clinical encounter. And also other supported services are also captured at this point, the enrollment, distribution of commodities. You all know the condoms and the lubricants for the KePop, and the STI screening tools, and the post-exposure prep for among the KPs. Next. So, how will the system be deployed, or the requirements for deploying the system? We have the basic requirements. We require a high-end server, that is a server with a hard disk of 8 GB and a RAM of 16 GB, at least a Core i5. Then we'll have a computer that is a Core i3 can also run the system with a RAM of 8 GB. And as was the Ubuntu, it actually runs at Ubuntu 16. We mentioned about OpenMRS. It is compatible with Ubuntu 16. A data backup is a requirement, a portable hard drive that we have all been using. Somebody will mention on the issues of data protection in the course of this presentation. Power backup, at least a UPS 6 kVA or higher. If there are multiple service areas in the DICE, then basically you'll have to network your DICE, and you require a network switch, 8-port, 16-port, 24-port, dependent on the number of service areas in your DICE. A wireless router will also come in handy if you have multiple service areas in the dice. A modem or wireless if you're implementing an online or rather an online supported implementation if there are several service points. So allow me just to walk you through the KP system at a glance. So on the far left, similar to any EMR, there are login, actually there is a login page where you'll be required to authenticate your entry by providing a username and password. You can notice the logo there, borrowed from the key population technical group. So once you log in, you'll be ushered into a home page, arranged according to the workflow. We have the registration, application, trial, HIV testing, but of key importance that this is entered retrospectively. We'll make use of the registration application, the peer calendar, and the chat application to update some of these tools retrospectively. Next, after registration, you will be ushered into this client homepage. That is a client homepage that for the purposes of this sitting, we have the client summary captured at the top. We have the registration panel, and notice the pencil icons. This tells you that you can still edit the same encounter that was undertaken during registration. And we have the peer contact form. During registration, there's a peer contact form that updates all the issues concerning the client as far as which KP type is the client, which is hotspots, the number of sex, and etc. Then we also have the peer and peer educator relationship. So basically the system allows you to link this client to a peer educator. So it's easy for you to actually assign that person a peer educator and for purposes of generating the peer calendar. And lastly, on the left there is a window on the KP enrollment. So once you register a patient, you can come and click on the enroll button to register that patient into the KP program. It's also important to notice on the far right of our presentation, we have the navigation panel there with all the tools that I've mentioned earlier. We have the community outreach tools that are already programmed into the system. So once you check in, the client is able to access all these tools and update accordingly, according to the roles of the user. We also have the clinical tools there, highlighted the HTS initial form depression screening, just to mention but a few, and the program level tools below there on the violence reporting form. Next. So lastly, it's important to point out the reports, that the system is able to generate the reports. You navigate to the reports icon. We have common reports, which are the MY731B reports and the outreach worker summary report, which have already been programmed into the system. And under cohort analysis, we have the KP cohort register, labeled number 3. Next. So I've just pointed out in the slide there how to generate the reports. Same approach that you use to generate reports. You access the reports menu, click on requesting a report, then the report is downloadable either in Excel, what I've shown there in the slide, or you can still view it in the same instance. So basically, it gives you the report as it is highlighted. So what are the next steps? These are the next steps that we are going to have a control feed deployments in the following diocese. That is MPEG Kiambu for the MSMs, and we have Jogorod, BHS, Nairobi for the 8 FSWs, and Sparta Nairobi for the PWIDs. Notice that we have scattered this across the different key populations just for this initial rollout phase. And the KP system training will follow suit. Next, so at this point, allow me to invite for questions, and the team members here will actually help in addressing most of your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so as we go along, we'll still take more questions. If you need to to ask any questions, you can raise your hand through the app. We'll be able to see you and be able to respond to your questions. But before I invite the next, we move to the next session, I'd like to first of all just state that this being system version 1.0.0, we are really looking forward to feedback from the implementers so that we can be able to improve the system and make it even better than it is right now. We'd like to thank the Key Population Program for the feedback they have kept giving us through the development process and for their patience. At least now they are joining the digital era. Now I'll take you through the next session. I'll invite Kezia to take us through the next session, which is basically on the electronic medical record systems. So Kezia has been supporting implementation of EMRs for a long time, and she's also a trainer on both KenyaEMR and QCare, and she will take you through the enhancements to the electronic medical record systems. Kezia, karibu.
Thank you, Dr. Jacob. I'll take us through the EMRs, that is KenyaEMR and QCare. Starting with KenyaEMR, let's have a look at the new features, one of them being the IPT service. Previously, we have been capturing IPT under a green card, but now we have it as a module, as a program on its own to ease reporting. So some of the enhancements you'll find is that you're able to enroll a patient into IPT program. You do the follow-up, you discontinue after they complete the treatment, and then we will have reporting. On the screenshot, you can see the IPT on the patient homepage, and then down there we have IPT reporting. On the reports icon, we have added IPT section. Next is still on IPT. Apart from the program, you can still start IPT from the green card. So when the clinician is still clerking the patient, you don't need to go back to the homepage to fill the IPT. You just continue from the green card. Another new feature is the enrollment tracker, which is basically to give a line list of the clients who have successfully been linked to care. You can see where it's found on the reports and the output. Under the HTS, KenyaEMR HTS module, we have a number of features that have been added. One of them being the multiple tracing of index clients. Right now, from version 17.0.2, we'll be able to trace an index client multiple times, unlike previously where you could only do it once. We have the duplication feature included in the mUzima module. And again, we are able to access mUzima error queue. End users can now access the error queue from mUzima. Still on enhancements, we have the dual test kit added, which tests for HIV and syphilis, and from the screenshot, you can see that has been added. So the other thing, still on HTS module, I've mentioned about the dual test kit. Testing of below 18 months old has been restricted. For now, in the current version that we'll deploy, you won't be able to test a client who is under 18 months. Default dates in mUzima HTS forms has been removed to improve data quality. On referral, tracing, and linkage, I've mentioned about multiple tracing, which has been enabled. Referral section has been added. Previously, we had the tracing, but now we have referral added into that. We have enforced the UPN validation into 10 digits. This is to minimize the sync errors. Reason for not contacted has been added to tracing forms. Or release notes, kindly find the comprehensive list of enhancements on the release notes. Another new feature is the RDQA report. It's an enhancement. It has been redesigned to match the latest program's RDQA requirement, and it will now support both POC and RDE implementations. We have the DQA queries optimized for more accurate results. So still on the reports, you will be able to find the RDQA reports, and down there, we have the output, how you can use the view option, CSV, or the Excel. Bug fixes under MCH module. We have done some validations for the delivery modes. When a client delivers normally, the PNC observations won't show anything to do with CS. Another thing is that we have removed the constraints on some features, such as cancer screening, fistula screening, that was mandatory, but now that has been fixed. Or under HEI, we have added missing regimen under infant prophylaxis. AZT nevirapine was missing and has been added. Again, we have IPT stability assessment variable added in RDE. Under the ART regimen history. Previously, if you undo the regimen, you are not able to change because that button was not there, but currently it's there. The guardian details during enrollment for over 18 was mandatory, but that has been fixed again. On reports, KenyaEMR reports, we have now the lift reports, the surgery reports included in the release. So previously we were running a separate script on this, but now you won't need to run a different one. Permanent immunization register column for mother and father has been corrected. Under HEI register, the mother guardian name column has been fixed. Previously, it was picking baby's name instead of mother or guardian name. So to upgrade KenyaEMR, the platform recommended is a 64-bit machine. 64-bit running Ubuntu 12, but Ubuntu 16 is the most preferred. We need updated browsers, that is either Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. Installers, we need updated installers, which will be accessed from GitHub. And as Dr. Jacob said, they'll be accessible as from tomorrow. KenyaEMR version 17.2 will be dated 29th August. Something to note on the upgrade is that unlike what we did with 17.0.0, on this, to upgrade to .2, you'll only run one script. The prerequisite to upgrade is you must have KenyaEMR version 17.0.1 to upgrade to 17.0.2. Yeah, so a note is that you must be running .1 to go to .2. So for any questions on KenyaEMR, kindly through the chat, post them there. And from that point, I wish to take us through to the next EMR, which is QCare.
Perhaps as we transition to the next system, I just want to point out some things. For those of you who are keen on the IPT section, you will notice that there's an alert there that is informing the provider that the person is a candidate for IPT. So apart from just making the IPT a bit more explicit, that is also available. For the enrollment tracker, I think the Western Kenya team will know that we have been having the linkage tracking activities that is ongoing in Western Kenya. And many times you are required to produce an extract from the EMR on the people who are tested positive, on the patients who are tested positive and are being linked to care. From KenyaEMR, you can now generate that query and be able to export it to Excel for you to submit to the program teams. The next thing is just for enrollment tracker. I just wanted to emphasize that this is the tracing for linkage. I know we have, tracing of the contacts. The tracing that is now, that had an issue was the tracing for linkage. So an index client who tests positive can now be traced many times as you wish, so that you can be able to link them to care after being referred. So I'll take it back to Kezia to take us through IQCare. I've seen quite a number of questions coming on the key population module. As she concludes the EMR, we'll take you through them so that you can be able to respond.
Okay, thank you. Next, we look at the new features, enhancements, and bug fixes for IQCare. One of the new features is that LEAP or surge reports line list has been added to the dashboard. Tracing reasons have been added. Patient tracking has been added also. Patient dashboard now shows the default as pharmacy not dispensed, undocumented loss to follow-up instead of the previous general patient active status. We have the care ending section now enhanced to provide tracing outcomes, reasons for transfer out, date expected, receiving facility, reason, and the cause of death. The other thing is that you're able to show a defaulting patient from the patient status, as you can see from the screenshots. A number of enhancements have been done. So the dual kit, as I mentioned previously with KenyaEMR, has been added. We have enhanced the EMR HTS module to validate the kit expiry date based on the encounter or testing date, as opposed to the current system date. We have enhanced to stop adding same client as their own contact. With the system currently, you can add a client as their own contact, but that has been fixed. Sync between Aryaviobile and EMR has been improved. The validation rules between Aryaviobile and EMR have been harmonized. HTS syncing API has been updated. Testing of children below 18 months old has been restricted. We have enhanced just to stop adding sexual partners for clients who are below 15 years. So that now can't happen. So for the fixes in the IQCare HTS module, the issue of receiving and processing linkage data from Aryaviobile has been fixed. Partner screening and family screening data received from Aryaviobile, that has been fixed also. There was a bug in TB screening basement algorithm to provide the correct outcome. That has been fixed as well. The follow-up education form was not saving. Now that is possible. The processing of permanently staged records that were rejected due to missing serial number from Aryaviobile has been fixed. And this will enable automatic processing of permanently staged records. We have fixed a bug on HTS encounter to allow editing of existing encounters. Continuation of enhancements and the fixes. The patient checkout feature has been enhanced to redirect to find patient instead of trade card dashboard. So now when you check out, you'll just be taken to find patient instead of the dashboard. There is an enhanced search patient by service. So all clients in a specific service area can be selected with the name of the service area. We have enhanced our just for allowing enrollment or updating to CCC form from the universal portal that has been enhanced. And it will help in improving the linkage to care. Some of the fixes, again, yeah, so we have fixed the identifiers encryption bug. So the manual backup resulted in encrypting the database, so that has been fixed. Another bug in advanced adherence form that prevented users from viewing data from the existing forms has been fixed. And now the VR message failure through IR to EMR has been fixed. Next. Oh, sorry. So sorry about that. Under MCH module, there are additions. We have included AZT plus nevirapine as an option for ARV prophylaxis. All PMTCT regimens for the mother in HAE follow-up has been included. There is an alert on HAE clients with no PCR results. So just highlighting if a HAE does not have any PCR results, you will get an alert telling you that this client has no PCR tests. One-time events, e.g. the LMP, Glavidine, are now persistent for follow-up visits, so you don't need to keep on keying in the data again. ANC final test results now factors in the results from test 2. No, we have also enhanced to show family and IQ tools. There are some enhancements in IQ tools. So one of the enhancements is that we are able to show family testing for positive clients in the family testing register. And we have included a line list of patients scheduled for 1 month. Some of the bug fixes is that HTS monthly report and lab register discrepancies in the disaggregation by age groups have been fixed. HTS lab register has now been fixed to include the 3 client names. PNS register has been fixed to display partner's name. Also the occupation and index client type columns that were missing, that is in PNS register. Family testing register has been fixed. So where date columns were displaying as numbers, so now you can view the date. Family testing register also has been fixed for missing family and family members information. MOH 731 report where TB screening numbers were wrongly computed and were higher than clients active on care has been fixed as well. What it takes to upgrade to QCare version 2.2, the platform recommended is 64-bit machine, 64-bit Windows 7 SP3 operating system or higher. We need the latest Google Chrome as our web browser. Installers can be accessed through GitHub, and the version will be dated 29th August. Notes is that the upgrades from QCare version 2.0 will require running of DB migration application. And for QCare version, facilities running QCare version 1, they need first to upgrade to version 2, and then they upgrade to 2.2. But you can't move from version 1 directly to 2.2. You must first upgrade to 2.0 and then to 2.2. All these SOPs will be available in GitHub. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Kezia, for that session. I just want to emphasize a couple of things that she has mentioned. One is on QCare, we have had several users reporting challenges with synchronizing data to the EMR. By harmonizing the validations in the app and also in the EMR, now that problem will be is markedly reduced. And where an error in syncing has happened, the mobile application will provide you with a list of records that have failed to sync so that you can be able to correct the error and be able to synchronize your data. The Live Happy dashboard was improved to just make it easier for you to find the issues with the records that have failed to sync and to make sure that permanently staged records are processed. So those who are using your mobile, you should be able to get a better experience from the application. For KenyaEMR, I think just to highlight that the error log is now available. You can be able to see your error queue and be able to make corrections where appropriate to support you to use the applications even better as we move forward to the next stage. A number of questions were raised on key population. I'm sure the team is actually handling them in the chat window. If your questions are not responded to, you can still feel free to raise them. We'll go through the HTS application enhancements so that you can be able to follow through on the issues that have come up and have been resolved. So I'll introduce to you Frida. Frida is experienced in supporting the implementation of both KenyaEMR and QCare, and she will be taking you through the Aryaviobile and the mUzima enhancements and bug fixes that are available in this release. Frida, karibu sana.
Thank you, Dr. Jacob. So I'll take you guys through the two HTS mobile applications, the Aryaviobile and mUzima. So I'll start with LiveAPI. LiveAPI is the medium that accepts data from Aryaviobile and sends them to the QCare. I'll take you guys through the new features, enhancements, and the bugs that have been fixed in LiveAPI. So as Doc has mentioned, the LiveAPI dashboard has been improved. Right now, you're able to know, right now, data, all the stage data, you'll not be able to find the stage data. And we have a summary with line list of the records that could not be synced. This line list includes the provider details, and you'll also be able to know the dates for the data that has not been synced. We also added a link in Aryaviobile application to open LiveAPI for summary access. So for the enhancements that have been made in LiveAPI, we've added a function to export failed records to the CSV. You're now able to export them. We've also provided different desktop icons for the update LiveAPI to prevent confusion. We also provided detailed and descriptive error messages in case syncing fails. If syncing fails, you're able to the provider, you're able to read through and get information on exactly the error of why syncing has failed. Bug fixes. We've provided a fix for processing of previously staged records. So as I mentioned earlier, you'll not be able to see staged records. All the complete records will not be processed. Earlier on, most of the records that are being pushed from the Aryaviobile to the QCare, most of the, if not 75%, used to be staged. Right now, that has been fixed. For the Aryaviobile, some of the enhancements and the bugs that have been fixed. For enhancements, we've included statistics for record sent and failed per provider. If you push the data from the Aryaviobile to the LiveAPI, you're able to get the records, statistics on the records that have been sent and the records that have failed, and you will also be able to edit the failed records. We've also restricted testing of 18 months old, below 18 months old. We've also enforced the 10-digit CCC number for the referral. We've also restricted capturing of future encounters. You're not able to capture future encounters. We've also added a variable to capture reasons not contacted. Some of the bugs that have been fixed, we've restricted attempts to sync incomplete encounters that results in errors at the EMR level. This was the main source of syncing errors. So right now, you're not able to sync any incomplete data. Your records must be complete for your data to be synced in the first place. We've also fixed the age limit to a maximum of 121 years to resolve the issue of failed records when LiveAPI sends to the EMR. We've also restricted one from adding themselves as their own partner or the family members. So initially you could add yourself as a family member or partner. So what does it take for you to update Aryaviobile or mUzima from the Play Store? So one, you'll need to have a mobile device or a tablet which is running Android version 5.0 and above. That is the recommended. We also recommend you to have at least a 7-inch tablet. The installers can always be accessed from the GitHub. So for you to install the current Aryaviobile version and the mUzima, you need to have at least, you need to install Aryaviobile version 3.6 and mUzima version 2.4.0. All this can be gotten from the Play Store. So the installation and the upgrade procedures are available in the user guides, and the user guides can be found from the National Data Warehouse resource pages.
Yes, thank you very much, Frida, for that. I think we can take a pause again if we can take 1 or 2 questions, then we proceed with the National Data Warehouse. I know the EMR, a lot of partners have interest in them. You can take just 1 or 2 maximum. If you have a question, just raise your hand. I think our moderator will be able to see you and be able to take your question. Okay, it seems that we all want to wait for the end. Take your time to find the icon for raising your hand so that your questions are not missed. So I'll take us through the next session. So the next session is on the National Data Warehouse. And I'll ask Bernard Ajuang to take us through the National Data Warehouse session, and so that we can be able to proceed with the next session. Thank you very much, Frida, for taking us through that interesting session on the HDS applications and the module. So Bernard has been supporting EMR implementation across the country for several years, and is quite experienced in implementation activities out there. So, karibu.
Asante. Thank you, Dr. Jacob. So I'll quickly run us through what has changed on Data Warehouse. So okay, so one of the tools that is supporting the data warehouse is the Spot. I want to highlight some of the new features that have changed on the Spot. And starting 30th August, Spot will now be accessible through the data warehouse portal. And as you can see, there is, as I highlighted on that column, on the menu column on the left hand, you can tell you will be able to access the Spot, and from the Spot you'll be directly taken to the list of facilities that have lately uploaded the data to the National Data Warehouse. The next feature that have changed is that in terms of client summaries, the number of records that are expected from DWAPI will be shown whenever you do your uploads. And then there will also be, in context to that, will be the number of records that have been received from the EMR. And also there will be a tracking of the history of uploads for each of those facilities. This goes to address the question of sometimes when you push data and you're not able to complete the upload, you do not know whether your uploads completed as per the records that were loaded in the DWAPI. Okay. The next feature on this is that DWAPI is now cross-platform. That means it will be, next. Okay. That means it will be able to run on both Windows and Linux, as well as on Mac OS. and transmission to the National Data Warehouse and other registries is being enabled in this manner, in this number of ways. First, now you will be able to transmit EMR data to your partner repository or warehouses for those who are running their own instances for facility support. And also it will be possible for you to manage your own PSmart card registry to back up patient card data and continuity of care. And that is for partners who are rolling out the PSmart solution. And finally, you should be able to manage your own master patient index repository for unique identification and duplication of patients that are under your care of the facility that you manage. Next. The next set of features now relates to the DWAPI application instance, the DWAPI tool. The validation rules for DWAPI have now been relaxed. This is to help maximize the number of data records that are being uploaded to the data warehouse. Previously, I think this was much more restricted, so it made sure that a number of records were not uploaded. The next set is that it has improved, the DWAPI tool has now improved the data quality features. The data quality check has been improved. It now provides a user-friendly validation summary, as you can see on the right-hand side. It has improved on the duplication algorithm from the previous versions, and now it has added a flagged column that will enable the end user to know which are the records that have been uploaded with errors to the National Data Warehouse. On the HTS docket, now HTS data can be uploaded directly to the data warehouse. This is a new docket. It means for those clients, for those facilities that are carrying out HTS interventions, they'll be able to upload these alongside the care and treatment data. And for the HTS docket, they've also relaxed the validation rules for maximum data upload, and now it allows you to upload records even with errors. In terms of data quality features, the improvement is now in terms of the user-friendly validation summaries. The same goes for the care and treatment docket, and it has also improved the duplication algorithm for HTS. Okay. The next set of features that DWAPI has improved is that now users can export the validation summaries to Excel. That will then allow them to further clean their data at the facility level. And that now the data upload and the DWAPI update icons have been changed to allow users to differentiate between which function they will be carrying out. And generally, there's been a more user-friendly validation summary again for the entire tool interface. Okay, so what does it take to implement the DWAPI version 2.3? The DWAPI runs on 64-bit Windows 7 and above. It can also run on 64-bit Ubuntu 16.04 and above. So the Docker version 18 has been designed for the Linux environment, and it can run on Ubuntu 16.04 and above. In terms of installers, the installers for both these platforms can be accessed on the Palladium GitHub page. A special note for KenyaEMR is that only the web DWAPI can upload the recommended data set to the data warehouse and for CBS use. DWAPI version 2.3 cannot run on Ubuntu 12, which is the majority of the implementations at the facilities currently. So for sites using Ubuntu, data warehouse uploads will not be possible from the server. It means in most cases you'll have to be uploading from a separate machine. Finally, KenyaEMR sites using thin clients, that is in computing solutions, cannot upgrade to Ubuntu 16 because 64-bit sorry, they cannot upgrade to Ubuntu 64-bit without losing the vSpace license. So this is kind of a handicap for all those sites that are currently running on version 12 and are probably those running on version 14. Okay. So what are the options we have for implementing the WAPI at the KenyaEMR sites? So for all sites, they can deploy the WAPI on any existing computer within their network. For instance, ADT machines or any other machine that is running on a Windows platform. Alternatively, they can dedicate a machine, possibly with low specs, that will then separate from the server, that will then run Ubuntu 12 and upgrade the server to Ubuntu 16, where the new DWAPI can then be installed. So for the facilities that are running thin client, they will be able to, the way around installing and using the WAPI is by one, they would have to buy vSpace licenses for Ubuntu 16 and then upgrade the server. Or number two, they would have to upgrade the server and then replace the thin client terminals with full desktops for all the service points. Number three, option three is to adopt tablets to replace the vSpace thin clients. This is a model that has been in use by Aryaviobile project. Final notes that separate detailed document will be shared to guide partners to deploy or implement the WAPI at the facility level. So the following are the features that you will be seeing in the near future, including the ability to upload the following datasets to data warehouse from the WAPI. So date of last EMR use, this will allow for remote monitoring of EMR usage and utility. I think this is important for supervisors or CHRIOs. And number two, it will be possible now to report the run dates that will allow for remote monitoring again of facility level data use. Finally, PMTCT and expanded EHTS datasets will be included in the DWAPI to be uploaded to the data warehouse. So the resources, again, are available on the National Data Warehouse under the resources page. You can access all the guiding materials and the training materials on the tool that is being shared.
Yes, so before we move to the next session, I just want to make some emphasis, on specific areas. One is that previously we have been blocking records that have quality issues from reaching the National Data Warehouse. The updated DWAPI is going to allow all records to go to the National Data Warehouse. The only limitation is if they don't have an identifier. And this is important because if you don't clean your data, then your data will show up in the warehouse. And within the warehouse, we have data quality reports that will flag those records from this other end. So it is important to make sure that, to ensure that the data warehouse has clean data, that we run data quality checks on the data that we upload before we upload it to the National Data Warehouse. And within DWAPI, we have provided the tools to be able to check for errors in the data, correct them, and then re-upload that data. And progressively, your data is going to remain clean and to improve in terms of the quality. The second thing is that DWAPI has a feature for deduplication. So if you have duplicates within your EMR, you are able to use DWAPI to find those duplicates, export them to an Excel, and then go through your files and through the EMR to find those records and basically merge or clean them up. So that's important to note. For those of you who have not interacted with DWAPI, it would help to just go through it and see how the providers can be supported to clean the data. For KenyaEMR DWAPI, I think this is one area that we are working on a long-term solution, but as it is, we have provided options for facilities that are running Ubuntu 12. And I think in the presentation that as we have gone through, DWAPI can run on Ubuntu, but only version 16 and above. So Those who are able to upgrade their Ubuntu versions as they do the EMR upgrades, please plan to do so. And for those who are running thin clients, the options have been provided for making sure that you are able to install Ubuntu DWAPI at the site. It is important to note that the old DWAPI, that is not the web DWAPI, the old DWAPI will not be able to upload HTS datasets, and it will not be able to upload the updated data dictionary in the warehouse. So if you are using that version, then a lot of your data is going to miss out from the National Data Warehouse, and you may not be able to benefit from some of the deduplication and validation features that are available in the current version of DWAPI. So I just want to take us to the next session, which is on data security. Just a note on data security. And once again, I'll ask Bernard to take us through that session. Then I'll make a few statements on data use, and then we can be able to proceed with the final sessions. Oh, okay, there's one question.
Yes, Jacob. This is Rose, and thank you so much for the updates on DWAPI. Now, there is just one statement that I believe I could have missed the word, but when you say that DWAPI now allows all records to go to the data warehouse, I don't know whether it is doing the automatic push of data from the EMRs to the data warehouse. Maybe it was said within the presentation by using a different word, and maybe I just wanted to hear the word automatic. So just clarify that, please.
Okay, thank you, Rose, for that. So just to respond to that is that currently, for you to upload data to the National Data Warehouse, the provider has to click a button for the data to go to the National Data Warehouse. We have not allowed for automatic uploads to the warehouse because there's a lot of data cleaning and data validations that we expect the facility staff to do before they push the data to the National Data Warehouse. So as it is, the upload to the National Data Warehouse has to be initiated by the providers at the facility level.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can discuss more on that, but for now it's okay.
Okay. So we can go on to the next session on data security. So please, Bernard, take us through that.
Okay, so I want to share a bit on what's happening as regards data security and protection for the HIS products that are supported by Palladium. First thing to note is that we are guided by certain standards and policies, the national ones. We just like to highlight the key one here is the Data Protection Act of 2018. It regulates the manner in which personal data is processed and can be provided to other persons. It recognizes rights and remedies for people whose data is stored or used at the facility level. So this is especially relevant to the facilities because we are holding data for the patients. The other framework that is guiding the tools that we are developing is the data governance framework, again of MOH 2015. It basically provides for ways to deal with decision rights and accountability for all the actions that are taken on the data, on the data sets or databases that our users or our providers hold on the patients. So those are two of the key policies and standards that are currently guiding the HIS products under development by Palladium. Next. So I would like to just discuss a few of the common vulnerabilities. I think we are all aware of this, but it's good to share on this. Again, the common vulnerabilities around EMR are, one, the most common cause of data breaches is actually lack of security awareness. We want to encourage users to be aware that data can be breached either on the client side, that is from your desktop or laptop or even on the mobile device, but that it can also be breached at the network level during transmission or on the server itself. So that means we encourage users to take precautions whenever they're using the EMRs and any other system that holds data for the patients. We'd also want to actually encourage facility level and project level sensitization of users on the basics of data security. And we will be providing clear SOPs for securing the systems, both for access management and also the physical security of the infrastructure at site level. And finally, there should be continuous monitoring for compliance by the users regarding the SOPs and any other policies that are in place. Number two is that we recognize that the end user machines provide one of the easiest ways by which patient level data can be breached or can be accessed. So this occurs in terms of whenever you lose, say, a tablet that had data, for instance, on HTS, if it has not been synchronized by the server, which means that this device will be holding data that is personally identifiable. That means it has got data on patients, and whoever is holding that data can actually identify whom it is about. There is also the common risk of shared or stolen passwords, and sometimes virus and malware infected machines can lead to possible data losses, especially if those machines are online. In terms of the server and at the server and network level, often if the backup copies on the server are non-protected, it means anybody having access to that server can pick up that data because there is no data, there is no password protection. It means they can easily read who are the patients whose data is stored at that facility. And sometimes this doesn't happen often, but sometimes theft of servers and backup drives can actually lead to patient level data being disclosed without the facility knowing. So number three is that it has also been noted that unauthorized or infected software used at the servers can often lead to service degradation that makes the servers be vulnerable to possible attacks, especially if they are on the network. Finally, poorly designed local area networks can sometimes lead to compromised access that allows our service unavailability. So I think in summary, we are looking at the vulnerabilities being in terms of physical access to the drives and the servers. And we're also looking at the logical access, like somebody else is gaining access because they know your password or you share their password, and also at the system level. So this is what Palladium is doing to curb some of those vulnerabilities highlighted. In all our systems, there is a mandatory sign-in that has got a logic to enforce strong passwords in all those applications. So I think in all the applications, you find that each user must have an account, and that account must be linked to a password that is no less than 8 characters in length. That makes it a little bit harder for someone, say, to brute force that sign-in. And for all the applications that we support, the end users are provided with an account, and that account is linked to a role that then limits what the end user is able to see or is able to do on the system. Automatic session timeouts have been introduced now. That means each time the systems are idle for a given time, that you get to be logged out automatically. For the mobile applications, we've ensured that forms are cleared from the device as soon as successful synchronization has been achieved with the EMR. And finally, our systems have introduced data encryption during storage and transmission. what we'd like to recommend is that for the end users, each time you make data backup, please make sure that you protect it with a password so that if anybody else gets access to it, they will not be able to open that database and access the client level data. So in terms of upcoming data use activities, the following activities are highlighted in the next few months. There will be a monthly data warehouse reporting rates and data quality reports. This is ongoing. There is a newsletter planned and a webinar on COP19 NPRS using data from the National Data Warehouse. There will be a cohort analysis 15-year of PEFA program in Kenya that is planned. And then there will also be a data use webinar in Q1 of financial year 2019-2020. In terms of data protection and security, I think we want to emphasize that there will be a first ever EMR data protection and security awareness webinar is planned for October 2019.
So thank you, Bernard. And I think I just want to emphasize what is in the previous slide. The national MOH and PEPFAR are interested a lot in the information that is uploaded to the National Data Warehouse. So it's imperative that we commit to regular and routine uploads of data to the National Data Warehouse so that during COP planning, they can be able to get data that is analyzable and used for decision making. Just a final note on case-based surveillance. The National Ministry of Health is coordinating the rollout of case-based surveillance system supported by UCSF, led by UCSF and supported by Palladium. And there's a role for technology in that process. The routine use of the electronic medical record systems and the HTS application is required for data capture. So by using the EMRs and the HTS applications well, you are actually supporting the initiative. Data quality checks, especially running your DQS and using DWAPI to deduplicate and validate your records before you upload to the National Data Warehouse, is supporting CBS activities. Data transmission, basically your monthly uploads is important because it's also be supporting the initiative, and our collaboration with UCSF is supporting this particular undertaking. So it's important that we commit to undertaking the EMR implementation well, so that we can be able to support both the programmatic and the surveillance aspects of data. Finally, it's just to highlight that the initiatives for case-based surveillance rollout has started in Sierra County. And in the course of that, you will be interacting with the teams that are out there. And through that initiative, we really appreciate the Sierra County team because they have supported us to really make enhancements with the EMRs and the HTS applications to be able to work better for you so that both the programmatic and the surveillance initiatives are supported very, very well. I'll want to take us through the final Q&A session. And I'll request our team that is manning the chat box to keep responding to the questions. And those who have questions that they would like to ask, just raise their hands so that we can be able to take the questions in the few minutes that are left. And as we do that, I know that the MOH team is still on board and the USG team is still on board. I will be giving them a chance, starting with the USG team, to just make a few statements as we come to the end of this session in the next 7 or so minutes. So please raise your hand if you have a question as the CDC team prepares to make a few comments. Yes, I'm seeing Osoti is raising his hand, so please, Robert.
Yeah, thank you. I just had a question. Also, thanks a lot for the steps taken towards ensuring data security. My only other question on issues of especially backing up of EMR data would be, can we have a third stage to data backup other than just the backup in the server and the hard disk? Like, because currently we have most of our health facilities using different EMRs and they have cloud backups for those other data. So can we have a way of integrating this system so that we also have a cloud backup for the EMR data? Because in case of fire or anything, the server and the hard disk both can be destroyed. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good recommendation from Robert. I think the team takes note, and we are going to discuss how to make that happen. It would be nice to share some best practices on how others are handling that, so that we can be able to learn as well. I'm seeing Kengatu. I hope I pronounced it correctly. We can hear you, Kengatu.
Hi, Doc.
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi, Doc.
Hi,
thanks a lot for the great presentation. Yeah, I'm doing well.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for the great presentation and a lot of enhancement done. So from our side, most of us, the system, we are in 2.0. So we are wondering about the enhancement, including of keep up and also other IQCare enhancement. Will you do we are doing just one upgrade to enhance both the keep up and also those IQCare enhancement?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think Mwariri will just take that question as I look out for someone else with another one.
I think the two systems are separate. So for IQCare 2.0, you need a separate upgrade process, and keep up being a new module, it will need basically a new installation. So I think if your sites support both keep up and care treatment, we will have to have both at the moment.
Okay, Santi.
So I just want to emphasize as we wait for the next person with the question, as Calvin Loaka is being given the opportunity, there's a survey, there's a link that has been shared on your chat window. Please respond to that survey so that we can improve these webinar sessions and make it more responsive to what you need. Calvin.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question is on the KP model, or the KP application. Are we just piloting in those 3 sites for now, and for how long? Because I currently have equipment for all my 3 devices, so I just want to know when I should be good to go. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the interest in the module. I think this is the very first time this module is being rolled out, and we wanted to take it through controlled deployment for a month or so before we can be able to make it available, so that we can be able to solve any fixes that the users may encounter in the field. So for now, we are recommending just the 3 sites for the next 1 month or 1.5 months, so that we can learn, and then we make the module available to you for key population programming.
Okay.
Yes, I'm seeing Joyce.
I wanted to ask, well, since we have the keep up module, and actually been in the IQCare EMR, we've not been having the MY 731 plus to report the prep. So how are we going to continue reporting for the keep up for us who are using IQCare?
Okay. So I think I would recommend that we have a separate conversation on how to handle your case, because for now the key population module is a standalone module, and there is no plans to make any enhancements to IQCare for the key populations. So I think maybe we need to just have a side discussion on how to address the partners who already have a system, any system, capturing key population data, because what we envision is that eventually there may need to be some form of data, migration to the key population module that the partners will have to undertake to benefit from the module that we have, from the system that we have developed. I just want to emphasize that the key population system is a separate system from the care and treatment EMRs that we use, and there is no plan to make the KenyaEMR or IQCare have a system, a module for key population. So I would really look forward to having a conversation with you on the side to see what you need to put in place to roll out the key population model system that we have built. So we can take one last question as Dr. Kimanga or Margaret Ndisha prepare to give us a statement before we allow NASCOP team to close the session. Yes, I'm seeing Shem. Shem is raising his hand. Amerudisha chini. Shem, we can hear you now?
Yes, Doc. I hope you guys are fine.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just need a clarification.
Yes.
For the IMs that have been running EHTS, now we also have the key population module, and we have both the HTS in key population, and on the other end, under IQCare, we are running Aryaviobile. Now, how are we going to work out this? Because are we going to stop the Aryaviobile bit of EHTS and capture our data under the new KP for the prevention bit, the HTS data under key population module?
So I think I would still request that we have that conversation on the site, because if you are using a different platform from the key population system that we have built, then we have to have a solution on how to handle the data that you have been entering into the system. And I think that's something that we need to discuss with the key population partners so that we have a way forward on that. But as it is, if you want to adopt the key population data, the key population system that we have, you basically need to re-enter your data afresh in the new key population module, or find a way of getting it into that system. You will not be able to use Aryaviobile with the key population system, because it is compatible with mUzima and has its own EHTS process within it. I think one of the discussions we are having with the key population program team is to figure out how the rollout process will look like. And I think during that session, we'll have the conversation around what happens moving forward. So I'll ask that be the last question for today from the session. I am looking for Dr. Kimanga's link in the participants list. I hope he can be found soon. Dr. Kimanga, please raise your hand, or Margaret Ndisha, if you are there. I can hear someone from far. Is that Margaret? Yes, Margaret, yes, we can hear you, but you need to be closer to your mic.
Is this better?
So I think there may be some challenges with the technology. We cannot hear Margaret. I'll hand over to Ross from NASCOP if you are still there, or Faith, please just give us some closing remarks so that we can end the session.
Hello?
Yes, Ross.
Jacob?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I was on something else. I think I'd indicated, I don't know whether Faith is in. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, I was on something else. I would really want to say that we are very grateful for Palladium. I think the updates we've done are just very, the enhancements we've done are very good. And I believe from the from NASCOP, and I believe even from the CASCOs and CHRIOs, we can be able to say that a lot has been achieved so far. I wanted Faith to actually give a comment, given that she has been working closely with you guys. I don't know whether she's in the still on the platform. Faith. Okay, it's like she's gone. But generally, I think we are very grateful for Palladium and for everybody who was participating. I also just really want to say we are very happy to have been together with you, and that whatever we have been updated on, we'll be able to go back, implement, and also update our health facilities who are implementing EMR. We'll continue engaging, of course, at the national level to see that what is currently missing. I know like PrEP, which is currently not on board, will be able to finalize and make sure that it is uploaded into the EMR. For the MCH module, I also believe that although a lot has been done and it has already been uploaded and we can start using, I also believe that we still have some small task to do to ensure that every aspect of service under MCH is well taken care of. I don't think I have much, but to really say kudos to the entire team, and we will support where possible and in every way to make sure that we are achieving the goal of increasing generally coverage and utilization of the EMR platforms. And let me just say thank you. That is all I have for now.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you very much, Ross. Thank you very much, everyone, for taking your time to attend this session. We have we are going to leave you with the display. On the screen there, you'll find the link to the Google Forms for you to give your feedback on the webinar session that we have had and even previous ones to help us make them better. I also wish to request that you keep giving your questions in the chat window. It will be available for at least 5 minutes after we end this session. So thank you very much and have a great evening from the team here. Asanteni.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chef nataka niende mpaka hapa.
Aliuliza. Hakuuliza. Ni like ati nienda kwa mfano kasoma.
Then alafu sasa ilikakadishiwa
Before nianze kuangalia nini.
hiyo poni ya nani sasa? Fit inside extreme, extreme. Background your password.
Oh, ni hiyo monkey survey. Ndio link.
Yes. Anaona nimetoka niko kwa ofisi. Huko chini kwa mtu. Kuna webinar nilikuwa na nini tunasikiza ya computer. AI display kitu. Amezima.